Everyone, welcome back to another episode of Who Should You Choose, a video series where I go through the prior videos, questions, and comments and help you with your hut lineup decisions. Now, we are one day away from Warp Speed being over. And, there's been some mixed responses, but I think that we can all agree in a vacuum, the cards are good. However, I want to know the Cornerstones event is about to be released. I want to know what would the Cornerstones event cards have to make it a good event based on the warp speed event, right? So one of the things that I've kind of brought up is the sense that if you have these events that are dropped every once in a while, like the Gallery of Greats event, for example, and then go back to the more traditional style, is that it just really makes it the next event be like, ugh, you know. And I think that EA has kind of backed themselves into a corner when they do events like this, because I just don't know how the Cornerstones event is even going to generate any interest, just given what we got for the Warp Speed event, right? And I also think it plays into being able to make all of the master set items from the prior event. That was such a good feature that we had in the game last year. So let me know in the comment section just what you think would make a good event when you follow an event like Warp Speed. All right, not just a blanket. This is what would make an event good, but what would make a good event for the cornerstones specifically. All right. That being said, let's get into today's comments and questions. Woj says, grinded to finish the Gartner moments and objectives for my Rangers theme team, only to realize I missed a token in week one of the Warp Speed wild card. Didn't realize it was in there since they have never done it that before, and I don't enjoy playing wild card, so I usually skip it. Thanks again for the sudden deciding to randomly switch it up and something yet again to ruin my game experience. So, very unfortunate. Something that I think EA NHL specifically suffers from is that I don't think they take the brand new player's experience into account. And what I mean by that is that if you were to get someone new to, the NHL video game, and let's say they're well versed in other Ultimate Team games, so they're savvy enough in video games, right? Or specifically Ultimate Team games. How long do you think it would take them to figure out what the pathing is to make an MSP? Because it's just not explained, and without creators or just players that know what's going on or the Reddit things like that, like how do newer players start to learn that? Because it is a pretty convoluted. It's not even that it's convoluted. It's just very difficult for a new player, right? And I think what needs to happen is every event, take one of the content devs, spend 2 hours, and come up with a document that would be released at the time of the new event. And what the document would include is information on all the new cards, okay? But more importantly, it would give a workflow. So it's like, okay, so here is what you want to do. You want to start by buying an item in the auction house that will get you your free Warp Speed event item. You put that Warp Speed event item in your lineup and you begin to play whatever mode you want, even though it's going to be squad battles, to work towards another reward and so on and so forth. You use these cards to use in these sets. And just instead of us trying to have to piece it together, you explain it, right? And that for all content. And then also explain why you picked the MSPs you picked, right? Because a lot of the times we're critical of the MSP player choices, but sometimes they make sense and it's just not a very front facing reason as to why. The sharpshooter event is a good example of that. There might be like a really good stat that we don't know, like maybe Vince Dunn's shooting percentage or accuracy, like, Amazon Edge type accuracy shooting from inner slot shots is like 97% or something. And that's why he was a sharpshooter. Just do a one sentence thing on why you picked those cards. And I think that would go a long way. But yeah, I think that they need to fully explain where all of these things are so that you don't miss out on something like the Gartner moments, right? This is my team right now. I can make two for sure, maybe three. Who should I go after? I also have 285,000 coins. So he's got Mac, Larkin, McDavid, Kyron, Miller, Miko, Sakic, and Gretzky are the two centermen. 100% you need to make Madonna because he would be your number one center. I also would probably make another center as well. Your defense is Ekblad, Devon Taves, Favor, Pronger, Monster. You need a defenseman too. So actually, I would go Madonna. How many said you can make two for sure? Maybe three. I would go Madonna and Sanderson and Montour. Those three. Make two defensemen. Make two defensemen. Hey, Sleeves, I'm just wondering what I should do to prepare for Team of the Season. Should I buy 86s or 87s right now while they're somewhat cheap? Also, when do you think Team of the Season is even coming out? So, Team of the Season, for anyone new to the game, is a lot like Team of the Year. So they will release a bunch of cards that highlight the players that best performed in the regular season this whole year, right? It's not like Team of the Year where it includes last year as well. It's from the start of the season all the way through. Who are the best players, and they will get cards. Now these cards will also go up in overall to match whatever the newest card that comes out. So if Quinn Hughes, or let's say Zach Werenski gets one, which I think he should, and Zach Werenski gets a 95 overall game breaker card, a team of the season card will go up to 95. They're also probably going to have free zone abilities and a lot of them, and customizable synergies, just like Team of the Year, right? Team of the season is the last big event. It is the official or the unofficial end of Ultimate Team. Every sports game has this. So like in MLB, it's the finest, and so on and so forth. So Team of the season, essentially, how it would work is a lot like Team of the Year, but something that has gone on all year or the last few months is the next time a new month comes out or a new month happens. So it looks like the next event is going to be Cornerstones. So it looks like I would guess the following event is Team of the Season, right? Which would mean we're into the next month. So if 85s are the benchmark to get into the event, you need 85 overalls. You traded a bunch of those, you get 87 overall event items, and so on and so forth. I would bet that 86s are at least the minimum, or maybe 87s. If you got 87s right now for the same price as 85s or 86s, I would buy up a bunch of 87s. I'm not going to tell you the price. Even anything higher, I would just sort anything 86 and above, and then just find the cheapest price and see if there's any of like the higher overalls that are going for the same price. You'll find a lot, and then I would just do that for the next little while. If you want to prepare for Team of the Season, it's not mandatory. Hey Sleeves, I have a hot take. Wondering if I'm alone on this, but I never noticed anyone's speed. I've had the Team of the Year McDavid, and he never blew me away with free wheels. Also, these top cards in the game never seem to perform well for me. This week's wild card was a prime example, with 5 MSPs in the lineup, and my top point producer was the 80 Fiala. Couple things here. Number one, it could be your ping. So if your ping is anything more than 30, 35 maybe, it will feel a little sluggish. You're not going to feel like quick and snappy like you would if you played squad battles. But the thing you need to consider or remember is that unless you have a card that is far and away higher speed, so Pareko is 99, you will feel that. The problem is that everyone else in the player base right now has 99 skaters. So everyone's got the same skating. So you're not going to notice it, right? If you were to go into an online game with base cards, you will notice speed. You just will. But you need that big differentiator before you really notice it. I notice agility more than speed, to be honest with you. But what you're running into right now is you're just going up against cards that have 99 speed, man. That's why you're not noticing it. Ace Sleeves, this was my first year playing Hut. Your content was the best part of my first year in Hut. I appreciate that, man. Unfortunately, I'm going to call it quits as I find this game mode is too cutthroat and competitive. I was just looking for a casual, fun experience like an ESHL that had cooperative gameplay with friends. I know I'm in the minority, but this game mode is very time consuming as well. Anyways, wish you luck and enjoy. I say this all the time. You get to Division 2 and you have to stop playing the sport and you play the game. Right, you have to do certain things in the game to kind of compete and stay there. That being said, if you don't enjoy it, you should be playing a different game. Take a week or two away and then go back and if you feel like it, then play it. I think that what they need to bring in is just co-op in general. I think that would really freshen up Hut so that we could play with our EASHL team. I would love to do a Hut Champs run where it's 6 players, right? It would just be so much fun. But I don't blame you, man. A lot of people lose interest right now. I personally don't like how the meta is this year. I know that there's always a meta every year, but this one specifically is kind of just not my taste. I don't enjoy it. I don't feel like doing it. And every time I see it, I just roll my eyes. But it is what it is. That's online sports games. Unfortunately, that's how it goes. I went 0-6 in champs last week, and then I kept playing just to get through the XP path and was watching movies while playing. And I didn't care if I went 0-20, but somehow things turned around for me. I ended up 10-10. First time in NHL 25 that I got 10 wins. Felt good. I agree champs should go back to the collectible system. I don't even have a place for Hemsky on my team. 100%. Like, this was the Hut Champs reward system is the perfect example of them putting something good in the game, but just not executing it well. So the guaranteed cards, huge win. Huge win. They should be a choice pack. If you're going to do a forward, give us 3 options at forward. If you're going to do a defenseman, do both defensemen. And a goalie, maybe. Like, make it 3 and 3 if you want. Because that would allow us to not just have the exact same teams, but would give you some lineup flexibility, and maybe you don't like the player, right? So having just one card is a little weak. But that being said, we didn't have guaranteed cards before, so I do enjoy that. The collectible system and moving away from it, I do not understand that, because the packs have been just so frustrating, and it makes every win matter that much more if it's a collectible system. So I hope they go back to that. It's just tough. I think the issue is doing the challenges, like spamming 75 one-timers with a warp speed player. The challenges are very mind-numbing. I could see a system where we play for XP every week, and event cards give you a boost in XP, the way everyone can choose how they want to play. 100%. I think that would be a massive boost to EA NHL, and that would be where every objective isn't an objective. I mean, you could have objectives, but if it was XP only, then we're just playing the game that way that we want to play it, with event items, you know. But I think that would be the way to go. The arbitrary, just random, do X amount of whatever. That's an MLB though, so I can't say that is totally a bust. But the way that it operates in NHL is just far less enjoyable, you know, unless it's just goals and assists, and then you can play online. And if you play online, there's a massive ratio for it. So, for example, if you score 1 goal offline, it counts as 1. If you score a goal online with an event item, it counts as 4. Then you're like, I'm okay with playing online, right? I think that's the way to go. Hey, Sleeves, is trading in ASP and Dvorsky Fantasy worth trading in, or do you think their cards can get trade-in sets like Team of the Season? Also, those special folks like the Warp Speed Timu, being a Ducks fan, kind of sucks you can't get them in packs unless you buy it. They should try and change that up for theme teams. Yeah, I mean, some cards should be... I actually don't mind the specialty packs, because at least, like, again, if you really want the player, you can buy it for like 210 or 300,000 coins. It's not worth it usually, but at least you can guarantee yourself the card. In terms of trading in ASP and Dvorsky for MSPs, like for Warp Speed players, I personally am okay with that if you're going to replace them with Warp Speed players. Hey, Sleeves, I've gone all in on this event. I can make one more Warp player. Who should I make? Thinking Sanderson, but also considering Fantilli, Natchez, or Boyle. Yeah, you got a really good top 2 lines, even 3 lines. On defense, you got Montour, Niedermeyer, Fox, and Hanifin, Hughes, and Anderson. It's tough because Nylander have a free gold synergy and 99 shot stats. Anderson is like, I would make a defenseman to replace Anderson. I would probably go with Boyle. I would probably go Boyle. Hey, Sleeves, semi-casual here. Been grinding this event, although took a big break from the game and missed Hut 2000's Gallery Grades and Team of the Year. Probably the 3 biggest events to miss. Was hoping to get some guidance in my lineup what to do and upgrade next. He's got Gartner, Madonna, Rantanen, Hossa, Backlund, Trocheck, Brat, Lindros, and Kucherov. So not a bad team. Nylander and Boyle, or Niedermeyer and Boyle. Also, any help would be much appreciated. Honestly, your team's pretty good, man. You could use a right-handed winger for sure, though. I would make Tippett. That would be where I would go. Make Tippett and potentially... Oh, and potentially, Sanderson. Hopefully, the Cornerstones event has 99 endurance, balance, and strength with Freeborn Leader. Yeah, like I said, with Cornerstones, the way I think it will go is it operates a lot like Gallery of Greats, only it's all current players. I think that would probably be what it is. That being said, so that would be like all free abilities, not 99 skating, but like 95, and then like good shooting and things like that, like strength, balance, that stuff is pretty good. But yeah, I would hope that they all have free zone ability or free abilities. I think that would keep them relevant. Hey, Sleeves, card release question. Do you think EA has an OV card made up for when if he breaks Gretzky's record? I would hope so, man. It would be absolutely devastating if just a bad look if they come. Well, here's what I think. Obi will get a Titan card. That's what I think. It wouldn't surprise me at all if Obi has a Titan card ready to go and they're just waiting for him to break the record. And then if he doesn't, they'll just release it anyways later on in the year. The Hughes card is still fire in my book. I think people are getting hung up on the fact that his overall rating is still at 90. His build is great. He still leads my team in goals by about 40. 100%. Nothing wrong with Quinn Hughes' card, for sure. Obviously, he's a bit smaller, but his skating is fantastic. I'm not saying that he's a bad card. I just think that, I would rather have Sanderson and Niedermeyer right now. A couple more upgrades, and yeah, Quinn Hughes will be fine. I just think that people are frustrated. This is what happens with Team of the Year. I say this every year. Why the Team of the Year event kind of stinks. Because everyone just gets hung up on, man, when are they going to upgrade my cards? And that kind of is just I think they want to get away from that. That's my guess. So Repo's team decided not to play him on the final 3 games. We will never know how much of a speed and acceleration increase he could have received. Sad at 98. He's 4th line at best. He would have got 99. It's clear they've done that number of times. I said this in another video earlier that that Repo is the most disappointing fantasy card ever in the history of the event, and someone was like, he's 98 overall, and he was like, no one expected him to, and I don't disagree with that. I'm saying that the difference between 98 and 99 is 9 speed, which makes the card drastically different because he would have been a 6'3", 99 across the board card, and now he's got 91 speed, and it's man, that's tough. One goal, but he was injured apparently, so keep that in mind. Warp speed lineup question. I made Madonna, Natchez, Sanderson, and Montour. I do have Niedermeyer's Hut icon card, and I literally have just enough 89s to make one more card. So I'm debating Niedermeyer or holding off for the next event. He's got Natchez, Cirelli, McDavid, Kucherov, Madonna, Larkin, Kachuk, Heisey, Garland. I would make a lefty, bro. Trying to keep as many synergies as I can while having the best team. The icon Niedermeyer is just really good defensively, but yes, sometimes speed gets caught. If Montour isn't back with everyone having these new cards, what should you do? I think you make Fantilli. That would be my recommendation. I think you should make a lefty and replace even Zetterberg or Kachuk, really, and he would play way up in the lineup. That's what I would recommend. Put McDavid on the second line. I think that's probably where I would go with that. So everyone, that is going to do it now. Again, the Warp Speed event is almost finished. I will be streaming live the new Cornerstone event, so be sure to check that out tomorrow. 5 p.m. Eastern Time is when it goes live. I'll have a complete event video breakdown for you, just like I always do. But I do appreciate everyone coming out to my MLB streams. NHL will pick up a little bit on Twitch over the next little while, but still have no money spent in all my other NHL videos on my YouTube channel. Thank you guys again for hanging out, and I will see you next time. Have a good one.